What the flick, everybody? House of Cards. Look at it's a crew we've never. It's fantastic.
Right?
Good things are happening. Brett, Alonso, Michelle, Ben. Episodes 4, 5, and 6. We are at this point. Honestly, none of us.
We've not gone
seen
past
episode
6.
7.
Correct.
We're all through episode 6. So the episodes we're reviewing are Frank's the assassination attempt, Meacham's death, up through Frank's recovery and
Yeah, it turned out to be a perfect little arc.
Yeah, it is.
As far as that
That's
goes.
right. So where to begin? First, the assassination attempt. Did we see Lucas doing that?
That I did not see that coming, and I have to say, for the longest time, I thought, did Frank set this up?
Right.
Because it seemed like the kind of thing he'd do to sort of
Totally.
like win back popularity and get Claire off his back, whatever. Like there seemed like there were a lot of things that he could get out of it. I was like, oh no, he's actually he's really shot.
This
Like,
is
this is the
serious.
thing.
This is the kind of thing that they needed from an arc, because the idea of running your wife as your running mate is so stupid. That's one of those things that throughout this show, it has gone from really smart to like, I wish it was just like that much smarter and more realistic. Like still the scandal and everything, but like the bases of all the scandals.
Yeah.
Like this one just is like, thank God someone shot him.
So we could talk about something else for a while.
You know,
We
it's
didn't
funny
have to take that
because we were talking about this before the show out there. Some of us here at the Turks were, but because the first season was extreme, but had so much realism in it. I mean, we're seeing Bill's marked up. He's the whip. Nobody knew what the whip does, and I think more Americans learned what a house whip does from House of Cards than probably anything else. And
There
that
was never a
was
Schoolhouse
Get
Rock
people
about
arrested,
Right.
you mean drag them into the...
so we got
Murder dogs.
like that was as realistic a political show as I'd seen. That was extreme at times, but and then it just turned into scandal a little bit. But once you comfort yourself with, okay, that it's not season 1, it's not going to do that, then I'm much more comfortable. Then it's enabled me to get back into it with a fierceness that I think I lacked a little bit in previous seasons.
What I appreciate that it's done is the format that it had in the early season, the first season, where he does so many asides to camera and you're like, oh my gosh, he's talking to me. The kind of thing that like a lot of shows have this kind of cadence, like Dexter had it, where it was like, oh, and now we're going to hear his voiceover again. Like they came away from that dynamic so much that when he's making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and turns to camera in one of these episodes, early, I'm like, oh, that's right.
That's right.
This is that show where they talk together.
And it's okay because now I'm not so focused on it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
I agree. It's definitely gone soapier, but I think as a soap that happens to be also in the world of politics, it's pretty good.
No, it's pretty fun.
And
Yeah.
if you look at it, if it is what they say it is, which is like kind of following that Clinton arc, what were the last years? How much scandal was it?
That's true.
How
yeah.
far?
And as we've said, set in the right now in this with the crazy 2016 campaign that we're in, it seems far less outlandish.
Only problem is it's the opposite oil situation.
That's
Like right now, oil is down 70%.
cheap, yeah.
So it's like that's another thing where I'm like, oh,
I
I'm
don't
sad
think
that was like their focus, and that's the big thing about oil is how damn cheap it is because of us.
But I do think it's funny because if they tried to run that, everyone would be like, wait a minute, what's the problem? Like, sorry, cheaper oil. No, we're cool with that. As the viewers, I'm okay with
Well, it's
my
like we
oil.
when we were doing Homeland, we were like, boy, even though the show's written in advance, like, man, they really nailed this with ISIS. Like, they're all over it. They mishit on oil.
Yeah,
That's
on
right.
oil, just the wrong. The wrong
roll
way
them
for it to
bones.
go.
Yeah, that's right.
The thing about the show, I was trying to think about this morning. Like, Claire and Frank, are they better politicians because they're so completely self-serving, or are they worse, or does it matter? Like, I'm not even sure if they're good at their jobs sometimes. Like, it seems to me that Claire creates more trouble than she fixes, especially when it comes to President Petrov. And Frank, the whole America Works thing, I think we can all agree was kind of a boondoggle. Like, it just seems to me that for people who are so savvy and canny about watching their own back and putting one over and climbing the ladder and stuff, they're not very good at their job.
I think they're good politicians, but they're not good
Policymakers?
Yeah, exactly. I think this show is about that type of politician who is all about the game. And I think they're good at the game, and that's what we're watching.
Yeah, and of course, and in their defense about the politicians part of it is that the playing field shifts so suddenly that that what had seemed like a good plan, okay, not a good plan, and now we've got to adjust, and they adjust so quickly.
They course correct like nobody's business.
That's right.
For
Yes,
sure.
Is it weird for me? I wanted to ask you guys because Claire's character, the fundamental idea that Frank betrayed her on her nonprofit and all the things that she wanted, but every time she reaches for an opportunity that she's technically not qualified for, and that the optics on would be so terrible, I feel like the writers have made her stupid in that way and extremely blind. Like the idea that she should be the UN ambassador when she's not qualified, and the idea that she would come up with being the running mate, unless that's motivated by like a nefarious plot to undermine all of them.
Right.
She seems so dumb.
That seems bananas.
I don't understand what it is that would qualify. I mean, we're talking about right now. We have presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. I mean, she was the first lady. That's what she did, and then she went on to do all these other things.
But she held elected office first. She ran for senator.
She did after
being first lady. She was a first lady. First ladies, and I'm sure the first husband will get this project that you focus on. And her project was trying to get healthcare passed. And she was like an accomplished lawyer. We have Claire is a nonprofit person. But after that, Hillary ran for Senate. Became a senator. After that,
she didn't do it while she was first lady.
Claire wanted to do.
Yeah, but she didn't do
that part.
No, but she was promoted to an office as first lady and kicked back out, like a similar
but
position.
not
that as first lady.
She was kind of charged with doing healthcare. I might just forget it. What did Hillary have as an official office on par with UN ambassador?
There was something to do with a commission. Like I was researching it, and I'd have to be reading the article.
Nothing like UN ambassador. Nothing like UN
ambassador. Not like UN ambassador.
Healthcare obviously was a high-profile job. That was an indication for the first time that this is not a woman who's just hosting dinners, that this is a person who is involved in the policy making with her husband. And that was a dynamic that America was hideously uncomfortable with. Many were for a long time.
Totally.
And the idea of America is not that your family, theoretically, your family determines your qualifications. You don't have a king and queen.
No, but she's a smart, qualified woman who has business.
I'm talking about the optics on it and how, as a political operative, you put that out there.
Especially after he recess appointed her as the UN ambassador, after Congress said no.
Yeah.
I totally agree that it's bad. I'm not arguing.
I'm just saying,
I just don't agree.
Do you think that she would be smart enough to realize this is not going to look good for either of us?
Totally agree with that.
I do this.
Totally agree that the optics are really bad and that she should see that.
Yeah.
Don't agree about the qualified thing is, what if she became a senator after she's suddenly
Well, we're talking about two different things.
Yes, 100%.
Well, first of all, the idea that she would run for Congress, I don't find, even in the same year that her husband runs, I don't find that to be, that I think is doable. That was a possibility. The good part about that, what it made it a storyline with tension, was the idea that you might not even win. Like you can't bully these people out. You've picked wrong. You've picked the wrong spot.
Yeah.
But the idea that she might go back to Texas and run for the Senate while her husband was in office, more doable than instantly being an assassination away from being the president.
Totally.
When all you were was a failed UN ambassador that people hated in the first place.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I agree that if she is as smart as they say she is, she should recognize that. But she is both smart and like her husband, blind with ambition.
She's strong. She's a strong character. I just feel like they might have owed it to her more to give her to not be as blinded by.
But now they went with her policy decision, and that I think they are saying look, maybe he's at least saying maybe I've underestimated you. There's a reason.
That stuff is more in line. The behind the scenes, seeing an opportunity when Stamper is flailing and going in there to be the puppet master on the new acting president. That is perfect. That's what they did. But it took them a few episodes.
Telling the world that Kathy's the one really doing everything, even though she's the behind-the-scenes manipulator. That's smart, and that's the thing that smart Claire would do and would sign off on.
So now do we think, because they left it's vague here at the end of episode 6, she's like, it's got to be more, and he says, I'm nothing without you. I totally recognize that now.
What does that mean?
So what does that mean? Does that mean him saying, Is she going to be on the ticket? It's possible that it doesn't, but since they didn't say that, it seems unlikely. And so I'm wondering whether it's there's the second most powerful job in almost every White House in modern history is not the vice president, it's the chief of staff. They in charge of access, they're in charge of frequently agenda. They really, in many ways, they run the country while the president is out presidenting. A word I was sure George Bush would use while in office, but he didn't. Jenk and I had that for 6 years. I was sure he was going to say presidenting. But that seems like, but is she? So is that possible that Doug, who was flailing, was getting manipulated? That is that something that could happen?
I can't see Doug getting exiled again. Like
no, Francis can't leave Doug out there first.
Yeah, he's way too dangerous, and somebody's got to keep an eye on Seth, obviously. So
Oh God.
yeah, I can't imagine that. But we haven't gotten episode 7 yet, so we don't know.
Yeah.
We do, but they are going to make Nev Campbell the campaign manager.
Maybe.
It
I don't know.
It's looking that way.
Potentially.
Fine with that.
Yeah.
I feel like the big thing that it came to in this episode was just him coming to the fact that he respected her, and that was such a big win for her. And now that he'll be strategizing for her, no matter what the position is, I think that's what she was gunning for all along, and never felt like she had his support.
Here's the thing: is I don't know what that last scene means.
Oh, it could
because what it could be is all right, I've seen the light. They had all those like Tony Soprano dying.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
what do we think about the?
Yeah,
But before we get to that, like,
a lot
it's
of
possible that he's now saying, all right, I'll do everything I can to win her trust the way that she angled to win mine, and then I'll, undermine her. Maybe she'll
Later, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. What do we think? What do we think about the limbo stuff?
I don't like dream
sequences, yeah.
I don't like them ever. But I mean, I've lost that battle with TV's writers. not consulted.
I can take him or leave him. This one, I thought the early ones, like with the guys in his room and stuff, were interesting. But when it turned into that whole crazy like
facey mush,
pas de trois, whatever, with Zoe and the other guys.
I treat dream sequences exactly the way I do when I'm reading a novel and there's clearly a very long paragraph description of scenery. And I'm always like, where are the quote marks? Oh, okay. Now they're talking again.
The other question is, what about is Jackie now? I think because Remy has confessed what's going on and why he's had to behave the way he has. She now knows that she's on Claire's shit list. Does that put Claire in? Does Jackie have it in her to find something on Claire that's going to get her out from under this, or is she just going to be sort of stuck in doing the bidding of the Underwoods now?
It looks, I don't know.
I think she's a smart, powerful woman who probably won't take well to that. I mean, she's ex-military, right?
Yes.
I don't see her staying under someone's thumb.
We'll
see.
We've reviewed, Jim Beaver was on this week's episode of Better Call Saul. Kim Dickens from
Yes, she's back.
Deadwood is
Hooray.
back. And, now I just blanked out on who
the
plays
Walking Dead.
Jackie. Who plays
Molly Parker.
Marley Parker, also from Deadwood. Good to see them all working. I like Jackie, and interesting that we went in a couple episodes ago from Remy not taking Jackie's call, and almost saying, I miss you, and then not, to now she's not taking his call. And I keep forgetting that, of course, that she's married. Right? With a stepkid.
Right. I totally forgot that.
Right. So it is a very real thing that scandal. If she were single, there'd be no scandal. She'd have, star lobbyists having relationships.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And Gerald McRaney's back too.
And Gerald McRaney's back. Yeah, also Deadwood, right? By the way.
Oh, is he Deadwood?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Sure. He played William Randolph Hearst's dad in Deadwood.
Then.
wow.
Yeah.
Is that Major Dad, as we were talking
Let's
about?
do some dream sequence.
I like that.
Whose dream? Whose dream?
Everyone's dream. Yours.
To the viewers, thank you, America.
What else do we forgotten?
What else goes down? I love the guy who they cast as the vice president. Because he's got like
Donald Blythe.
He's got like half a spine.
Yeah, he does.
He's got like just enough to occasionally stand up for himself. For the most part,
But only a spine. Only a spine with support. Like he has no. When Claire, it's like Claire. I'm going to give you 12 minutes of spine here, and then he has it. He never has it on his own, and you have a huge relief, of course, when. When he's like, oh, Francis is going to live. Oh, thank God. They almost got to. They did a variation of it. One of my favorite historical stories as a presidential history junkie. But when Truman was in his office, I believe, when he got the call that the president had died in Warm Springs in 1945, and he gets ushered to the White House, and he's greeted as he comes up to the residence part of the White House, or maybe it was the Oval Office, by Eleanor, and he says, Mrs. Roosevelt, I'm so sorry. This is terrible. What can I do for you? And she says, no, Harry, I'm the one who needs to ask. What can I do for you?
Wow.
It's a nice moment.
Is Heather Dunbar toast?
I think Heather Dunbar is done because that just didn't. Her idea to tell the truth. First of all, it's going to look like a hesitant truth in that video.
Sure.
Just doesn't work while the president
is it a coma? Is it being operated on?
Getting a liver. But all of that is one of the flaws of the show. Like everything's too accelerated. That was. He was he needed a liver transplant. Primaries have happened, right? Theoretically,
they're happening at
right.
the moment. Yeah.
And then he's like back and signing the bill.
But
he's not even gonna have, in episode 7, he's not even going to have a limp.
Although weirdly enough, Maddow talked about this last night. George Wallace actually did well in the primaries after he got shot because he was getting sympathy votes from people.
Let me tell everybody, just before we go here, just to remind everybody about that we don't think there could be a politician like this. We had a politician like this, and his name was Richard Nixon. When Arthur Bremer shot George Wallace in 1972 in Maryland, Richard Nixon sent, I can't remember who he asked, maybe Chuck Colson, to call his guys and get Plant McGovern literature. It's on the tapes. I'm making no part of this up. Yikes. Plant McGovern literature in Arthur Bremer's apartment. Right? I mean, obstruction of justice. I mean, it's prison 10, 50, whatever. And they got a call. Colson's guys got a call. Goes, we can't. The FBI's already here. Like,
we would. Don't get me wrong.
We do it. Not this is wrong. Too late. We've blown our chance. The FBI is already at his apartment.
Well, and I love Claire's whole, let's respect the parents of this fallen Secret Service agent by totally not discussing the very super hot, juicy conspiracy stuff that they found in the apartment of the shooter.
That's true.
That is all true.
That's all true. All true. Yeah.
Oy.
Good for Kate Mara. She got an episode. That's got to be $25,000.
Yeah.
Nice.
You think? With
although Stoll got dialogue, she didn't.
That's right.
I don't know if that pays more.
Yeah. Maybe she got and she had hair. She had hair. She had to get her hair cut real short.
Oh,
like
true.
Claire, that's what I thought that imagery was.
Oh,
she has like a fusion of Claire.
And she's wearing the nightwear that Claire is wearing in the violent dream sequence. That was his dream. They never were violent with each other, right?
No, he just imagined it.
There was a lot of stabbing. If they were covered quick.
Right. I just couldn't,
himself in the
remember
face,
whether
his brother.
any part of that happened.
That was just some. I was thinking, wait, is this a new character? Who's this guy? Oh, it's the liver. That's
it's
where
the
the liver
liver.
came from.
Yeah. Got it.
All right, and then we also have, of course, the moving on the liver thing, and of course that guy died.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What did you feel
Look
about
his
that?
face.
Because I kind of was like, it's the president.
It's the president.
I was surprised to find out the president didn't rocket to number one. That was,
Because it is a priority
I thought that
list
too.
based on
National security.
It's also
wise.
separate, like you
Right.
can't get into it.
Yeah.
There was a really good Michael Connolly book, Blood Work, is about the manipulating the liver list of a murderer who goes around killing people higher on the list so that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's
I thought you were saying he was killing people of a certain blood type to see if they could
No,
get that.
sorry. That's by the way.
To get
No,
on the
that's what he was doing. He was killing people of a certain blood type to try to get the
next liver.
right person, the right.
Oh,
liver.
okay. So he wasn't killing the people ahead
He
of on the
wasn't
list. He
killing
was
people
trying to get them livers.
He was trying to get them totally cool. So it had to be somebody with access to the
Right,
list.
right.
It was interesting stuff. All right. Good. We're totally into it. I can't wait to probably watch it tonight. All right. Thanks everybody.